Welcome to 24 Hour Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope everyone having a great Monday. We've all seen a great weekend of football. Every game was excellent. Every game was what I expected it to be. We got a lot of playoff scenarios that I want to get into. But I want to start this video off. The main topic of this video is Justin Jefferson versus Jaire Alexander. I think we see why DBs are becoming one of the more higher paid positions in the NFL, why having a number one corner is excellent, why it is important to a team, because Jaire Alexander, he backed up everything he said during the week. He came out there in the post game with the big hat. Before the game, he said he's a great corner, but he's a great receiver, but I'm a great corner. He said he wakes up, he puts on his clothes just like us. The first game was a fluke. And everything that he said came to fruition in that game. Justin Jefferson, 1 catch, 15 yards, 5 targets. To give you context of what this game means for Justin Jefferson, 5 targets is tied for his lowest in the whole season. He has not had a game he's had only one other game with 5 targets in a game. So he's tied for his lowest in this season. And this is the guy who's leading the NFL in receiving yards, was previously on pace to break Calvin Johnson's single season receiving yards record. If he has a great game next week, he can do it, but he wasn't going to do it against Jaire. And he proved that everybody in that secondary, they had a good game. Jaire followed Justin Jefferson throughout most of the game, and I think that was the most important thing. In the first matchup they had, he didn't follow him from side to side in the slot. He didn't cover him a lot in the slot. They had some other guys on him in the slot, but when he was lined up as the outside receiver, you seen Jaire on him. He held his own, and he just did a good job. Going into the entirety of the game, Kirk Cousins, I said the Vikings were frauds. Ever since I believed in them as contenders, they've went downhill. And it's like, what confuses me is they don't lose close games. They win close games, but when they lose, they get blown out. It's like you getting one or the other. Because like we seen with the Colts game, they were down 30, came back and won. But when you play a good football team, getting off to a slow start and coming back gets harder and harder and harder. And Aaron Rodgers, that run game, they're starting to look like the Packers that we envisioned at the beginning of the season. We said he didn't have weapons. Well, he does have weapons. Those guys are getting back on track. We see Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, a guy who I spoke highly of, Alan Lazard, even Randall Cobb is a veteran receiver in that group, making plays on third downs. Alan Lazard making plays on third downs. But I think the most important thing about this Packer team is the run game. We see A.J. Dillon, we see Aaron Jones, and that's what everyone was so frustrated is. Because if you have younger receivers, you lost Devontae Adams, but you didn't lose the run game. You didn't lose that running back duo, and they're starting to use them. A.J. Dillon pounding away. Aaron Jones, a good receiver, a good runner, just an explosive home run hitter. So I think everything we've seen with that team, it was good. The Vikings, they have a lot to clean up, but I just don't think this isn't their year. I don't like them defensively. Offensively, they just couldn't get it going. Offensive line, the Packers were able to get a good pass rush. Kenny Clark, those guys. Quay Walker is a linebacker that I want to speak to because he's been playing better. A rookie. A lot of people question, why go linebacker in the first round? Coming out of Georgia, playing beside Nakobe Dean, but he's coming on. Fast, physical, everything you want to see in a linebacker. And that's important to have beside Devondre Campbell, who's more of a thumper, who doesn't do as much running as Quay Walker. He just thumps, he makes plays. So good for the Packers. Scary team. You don't want to see them in the playoffs. And it comes down to next week. Green Bay versus Detroit. Who gonna win that game? And going into playoff scenarios, I want to get into more of that going into this video. We're just going to look at some playoff scenarios before we end the video off. And because it's interesting. My Steelers, we in there. I just want to pull this up real quick. Okay, so as we all know, we still have the Buffalo Bills versus the Cincinnati Bengals tonight. But I want to head over to week 18. Because you know, that's at the higher seeds. They have already clinched the playoffs. But I want to look at the teams who can still find their way in. Okay. So this is. Okay. This is the current playoff picture we have standing right now. Seattle in that 7th seed. And really just looking at the 7 seeds, just about everybody else has clinched. They have clinched their playoff seeds. So really the 7 seeds, who's going to get in and who can get in and make an impact. So let's see who these teams play. Seattle, they play Los Angeles in week 18. That's a solid game. If Seattle wins, they're in the playoffs. So Green Bay and Detroit, they have to bank on the fact that Seattle is going to lose to Los Angeles for their playoff hopes. For the AFC, New England's in the 7th seed. Who do they play? They play Buffalo. So I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna just do it. Buffalo is gonna have to beat New England just for a better seed. You know, I don't think they're gonna rest anybody because they're still in line for the 1 seed. Kansas City plays the Raiders. That's a rival game, tough game. So I believe they're going to be playing their starters. They're going to want to win that game to try to make the 1 seed because even if they beat Cincinnati and Kansas City, if they beat Cincinnati and New England and Kansas City wins out, they'll still have the number 1 seed because they have the tiebreaker. So ultimately they have to. They have to beat Cincinnati tonight, but I like Cincinnati to win that game. So that's going to be interesting. Cincinnati beat the Chiefs. So if the Chiefs lose next week, Cincinnati becomes the 1 seed. Because all guys will be 12-4. Cincinnati will have the tiebreaker over Buffalo and Kansas City because they would have beaten both of them. So it's a long shot that they can find themselves in the 1 seed and the 7th seed. So who's behind New England? That's what we need to focus on. Let's go over to the NFL. Whoever is behind New England. Because honestly, I want to see Green Bay or Detroit. I want to see the winner of that game in the playoffs rather than the Seahawks. Honestly. So. Okay, so these are the teams that can sneak in. The Titans, they're in there, but I don't think they're going to make it because I have the Jaguars beating them in that AFC South, and the division winner gets the ultimate playoff spot. So let me look at these matchups. Miami and Pittsburgh. We play the Browns. Who does Miami play? Miami plays the Jets. The Jets are eliminated from the playoffs. Teddy Bridgewater's hurt, so they're probably going to have Ripon. No. Let me see who their third stringer is. Dolphins. That's the Broncos. Let me see who their third stringer is. So they're going to be playing Skylar Thompson, third string quarterback against the Jets with everything on the line, or maybe Tua comes back. Let's look into Tua and see if he has any chance of playing this week. So really their season is dependent on if he clears protocol. That's the only way I believe they win. And then it comes down to my Steelers. We have to beat the Cleveland Browns. So I think either we make it in, because I see the Dolphins lose. Either we're going to make it in or who's home? New England's at Buffalo. I see us making it in. So, yeah, there you have it for the playoff scenarios, playoff picture. Thank you for watching today's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We out.